Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Wilkinson. I am a success coach and an e-colors coach, as well as an author of the book Life Remixed. And today I'm being joined by someone who's become a great friend of mine, and someone that I hugely respect from the safety profession that I chose to get into in the last 10 years or so. His name's Jason Anker. He's an MBE. And he's a fantastic man. I'm really looking forward to this interview. I'm really looking forward to sharing lots of the things that we learn and have continued to learn together. But before I do anything like that, Jason Anker, please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you for inviting me to talk to you. I'm Jason Anker. On January 3rd, 1993, my life completely changed. I'd been a young man, married, 2 young children. But on January 3rd, 1993 was the first day back after the Christmas holidays. Got on site, slightly hungover from the night before. And around 3:30 in the afternoon, a rush job came in. I was working as a roofing labourer at the time. The rush job came in, unplanned work. But as a contractor on site, always eager to please the client. We decided to give it a go. It was a repair of a roof where we've not been working. So different part of the project. Access by a ladder. My father-in-law, boss, he went onto the roof. But I stopped at the bottom. I was only 24 years old, but I stopped because the ground conditions that day were terrible. The ladder was not secured. I stopped. I thought about it. I realised it was unsafe, and I still did it. I climbed on that, got on the roof. We got the job done. And coming down the ladder, someone's actually put the ladder by this point. I got to the bottom rung, and all I can remember, for some reason, I've been called back up the ladder to collect some tools, whatever reason it was. Went back up the ladder, but at this point, that was now not being footed again. Got halfway up, and all I can remember is ladder slipping. That's it. Next moment, I'm laid on the floor. Initially, I thought it was okay. I got a slight bump at the back of my head, and it was only when I tried to sit up that I realised that the numbness I was feeling wasn't just pain and being winded. I couldn't feel my legs. So rushed to hospital, and then very quickly diagnosed with spinal injuries. I was told I'd spend the rest of life in a wheelchair, and there was no recovery. And that was it.
Yeah. And obviously, your story is powerful. You've used it to help other people, globally around health and safety. And you've also written this amazing book, Paralysis to Success, Bouncing Back from Adversity, by Jason Anker, MBE. An incredible book. And that moment that you actually speak about not being able to feel your legs when you're laying on the cold floor, that January day is a moment in the book where very few of us can actually understand it or relate to it because it's happened to you and not happened to others. But it was really powerful when I read it, and I remember reading it just thinking like, wow, this is such a powerful story. And then, of course, you went through some really tough moments. You've documented it all in the book, of course, as well. I urge people to read it. You went through some really tough moments, didn't you? I mean, it was quite a long, not just a physical challenge, but also a mental challenge as well.
Yeah, 30 years ago, obviously your rehabilitation was all geared up to your physical rehabilitation, and virtually nothing was ever placed on your mental rehabilitation. So I left hospital in a wheelchair. Your marriage broke down quite quickly. She left the day after going to hospital. It'd be quite easy to sort of say, what heartless cow she was for leaving, but there was no way I was going to survive. There was no way. But again, being 24, much like my accident, I didn't speak up how I was feeling. So I tried to mask what I was feeling. Also, I could see the impact it had on family and friends. So I always put a smile, Started drinking too much. Things escalated. I got into taking drugs, main ecstasy and amphetamine. But it wasn't to get high like the other people I was with. My high was just like coping.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then, as we know, to get to that place again just took more and more and more. So my life really spiraled out of control. Drinking was more. Actual taking got a lot more, from like once a fortnight, once a month, once a fortnight, to 2 or 3 times over a weekend. It was like constant. And things had to give. I knew something had to give. But again, no one spoke about it. And people, I think people were aware, family members were aware of what was going on, or suspected what I was doing, but nobody spoke up. It actually took a totally unintentional overdose or a reaction to ecstasy tablets I've taken a rave beginning of January '95 in Sheffield. Put me back in hospital.
Yeah.
I was in the worst condition of my accident. I had a serious fall, but my life was never in danger. I was on a life support machine for 70 days. I was suspected serious brain damage. And mum and dad were told, look, if he survives, he'll need 24 care. So it was about day 15. I think the advice they was given was turn the machine off. I don't think there's no point in my story where try to imagine what they've been through, not what I went through, what they've been through. Watch his son's life disintegrate over a 2-year period. He lost his legs, lost his marriage. Now they've faced this decision of switching the machine off and watching me die.
Yeah, well.
I mean, very fortunately, my dad said no. I woke up and I survived. Grateful for, but my body was in far worse condition than my original accident. It was focused on having a stroke. I lost use of my legs. Now I couldn't move my arms properly. My left hand in particular, I couldn't do anything with it at all. I couldn't speak. And even when they took the track knocked me out, it was just mumbled words, and repeat myself instantly. And even to the day, I still struggle to repeat myself slightly. I slur words still slightly. Most people suspect I've been drinking. I'll answer that, but I don't drink. The more the day goes on, the more tired I get, the more it comes on, the more my slurring starts. I get very anxious about it. So it's, and then from that, I felt that the sympathy that the people I had for me for my accident, for some people, had gone.
Right.
Because it was 2 years after his accident. Now he's on drugs. So for some people, they found it really even more difficult to be around me.
Yeah. I mean, it's a downward spiral, isn't it? Physically, obviously, and then mentally, and it just. Did lose any support from my close friends and family, mum, dad, sick there. They just, why didn't we all speak up about how, it was 30 years ago. Things around mental health were not like they are today. People didn't speak up onto it. So my daughter Abby came to me full time again. To give me a focus, purpose. But it was, I was still doing a lot of things internally. But finding a way of coping was the mechanism. So I got my daughter living with me. Sam, my son, used to come alternate weekends. I started water skiing to give me a focus of something to do that didn't involve a wheelchair. Yeah. I remember that first video that you made around being, doing the water skiing, and I remember watching that and thinking, "Wow, this guy is something, special here." Because you'd been through so much, and I didn't even know the full story at that time. But seeing that video when you first made it was very powerful.
Myself, I know I've let myself down over the years. What I could have achieved in the early years. I was so anti the wheelchair. It represented everything to take away from me.
Yeah.
To do a sport like wheelchair basketball, I tried tennis. I was quite good at tennis, actually. I was being coached by the British coach, just by down to the local tennis centre in Nottingham. He was a British coach, and he said, "Oh, I think you've got something here." Obviously, I did that sort of before the drugs, before the overdose. And once that, he sort of backed away from me.
Mm.
Thinking I don't really want to be involved in something like this. So I lost that opportunity, but still involved the wheelchair.
Mm.
So finding water skiing was in the water out of a wheelchair. So that's what really, really appealed. And the only downside from it all was there was still quite a big drinking culture around that after skiing.
Right.
So I'd stopped sort of going down to a pub with mates, but I found a new group of people, and unfortunately, drinking was still a big part of the scene.
Well, culturally, drinking alcohol is still a big thing in the UK, isn't it? I mean, I would suggest less so from some of the statistics that I read with the younger generation rejecting, alcohol in a bigger way than we did. But it's still there, isn't it? It's still a cultural thing.
Yeah. So it helped in a lot of ways, but then it became a bit of a hindrance as well. Because my water skiing was getting affected by how much I was drinking. I got to a stage where I was sort of trying to get into the GB team, start competing in Europe and around the world. And I was probably good enough, especially in my jumping, but because I wasn't giving it 100%, I was giving sort of 8 cents. I was there, but looking back now, how much better would it have been if I'd have been focused on what I was doing?
Well, yeah, I think also as well, looking back is interesting to observe. We talk a lot, don't we, about emotional attachment. If we look emotionally attached back at things, it can cause us problems. But as you rightly say, you weren't 100% focused, but you had just been through some huge trauma.
Yeah. I mean, my skiing was over. It took me over for like sort of 20 years, really. When I came out of hospital after the drugs episode, I saw that on TV about disabled water skiing. What it did to me also is to start mixing with people with disabilities. I was so anti. I didn't want to speak to people in wheelchair. I didn't want to speak to people. I was so anti it all. And we go water skiing with a group of people like with lost limbs, blind, just a right collective mix of people. And then different people's stories about coping and what they did and how they didn't cope. It did help. It did help.
I was going to say that would have been some therapy, almost. Some shared learning and understanding, right?
Yeah. So I was speaking up to people of similar, who had been through similar, but not speaking up to my family and things like how I was really coping at the time or not coping at the time. So alcohol still a huge part of my coping mechanism.
And we're going to talk about alcohol in a bit, I'm sure, because it's been a huge change in your life. But tell us a bit more, obviously, about your book and then how the public speaking came about, because you are an esteemed safety speaker, or have been certainly for the last 10 years. How did that come about? And then, why do you do it? I mean, what was the...
Didn't set out to do this at all. Not at all. I got some compensation finally in 2007. Didn't get a great amount of money, just over £400,000, but obviously it enabled me to do things. So for the next year, I was on holiday all the time. Just could Tenerife, 2 months, come back, get home for a couple of months, and go away again. Even at one stage, you got moving over there and start a new life. Just move over there, and then I was back in the UK at Christmas 2008. I was drunk at a party and got given a number of a guy who'd did able safety. It's quite a long story. I got in touch, but we presented with a business card. So I woke up the next morning, still slightly drunk, counting your change on the side of the much, trying to work out how much you spent the night before, and I saw this business card there. And I just sat at that moment thinking, well, why not? Why not give me a call? So I got a guy called Dan Terry, his name was, and we met and we spoke, and he straight away sort of, it was interesting, the story, why that happened, accident, but also the impacts. It'd been at that point, it'd been like 16 years since my accident. But he said, I want you to talk about the impact it's on your life. And then, long story short, went out a couple of seconds, watched him work. He used to always use a safety video, like 10 minutes. But he put the video on, and he just sort of said, well, Jason sat here, this is Jason's story. And I've spoken for 10, 15 minutes. I hated it. I thought, no, this is not for me. I can't.
What didn't you like about it? What was the?
I was so self-conscious. So didn't want to share. I never shared it with anybody. No, this is a story that I'd never been told.
Right.
No, I'm not into details with anybody about the accident. So actually reliving it for the first time was hard, and I thought I can't get through this story every day. In fact, I said, I went back to Tenerife for a couple of months, and when I came back, he made contact again and said, look, let's go somewhere different, talk to a different job. He said, you will be speaking today, so I'll stop a bit more prepared. And then someone was stopped in the room after the presentation, the course. They said how impactful the story was. I mean, sadly, Dan's passed away now, but knowing Dan's character, I'm sure he planned him to say it. I'm sure he primed him, because from that moment, it just changed. Yeah, it did. It just changed. It doesn't mean I'll think, well, if I could share my story and it stops happening to somebody else, is it worth me putting through this bit of pain that I have to go through, reliving the story for the good of somebody else? And that was, for the first time thinking that maybe there's something positive to come out of this.
Yeah. And that's a great reason why, isn't it? What a great reason why. Just that little spark. There's a lot to be thankful to Dan for however that actually happened. There's a lot there to be grateful for, because it set you on a new path, right?
Yeah, it really did. It nurtured me in a way. Something like I say, something not here anymore. I like to ask him how much of this was pre-planned, what you did, how you engaged into these sessions. But what Dan was delivering very well safely at the time, so it was like a day course. So I'd go and sit there all day, do my little bit, 15 minutes in the morning, and just sit and listen to what people were saying. It really started to spark ideas in my head about what safety could be. I thought, to hear a story from someone who's actually lived it, it's always different. No matter what reading you do, what knowledge you have, if you've not actually lived it and experienced it, you can't 100% say how it is, because you're just going on. But when you've actually lived it, and because it wasn't a story about the accident, it was a story about 16 years of an accident. Any new speaker who approached me even today, my first question is, how long ago was your accident? Only a couple of years ago, I sort of say, well, really not ready. So not really yourself. Your story would just be your story is about the impact it's on your life and your family's life. So I started speaking all the way through 2009, mainly shadowing Dan and a contact Matt Perry as well, not related, but another contact, Matt. And I always like to shadow them. They go out and get the work, and I just go down and do a little bit. And then there's a coincidence. Dan had a job, couldn't get what it was. I was on my own. A job in, I think it was in Aberdeen, by myself. So I got the train to Aberdeen, got my laptop, put a little bit of presentation together. I'd learned from slides I'd seen from Dan and Matt had shown in their sessions, and put a bit of a presentation together. So it was more than just an accident. It was more right from the start. I thought this got to be more than just me telling my accident. I have to try and help people learn and recognise themselves in my story. Even when I didn't even know what I was doing, like I do today, totally, I knew there was something more than just sharing my accident. Did a presentation for Sir Rob McAlpine on a big project. I think it was like 150 people in the room. So much out of my comfort zone. It was
I was going to say, you must have overcome some of your anxiety by then.
My anxiety is always there. It's never going to leave me, but I can manage it.
It's how you manage, isn't it? Yeah,
manage it. It's always a part of me. Well, back then, I used to go bright red. I used to go really blotchy. People used to concern the audience. But what I did was I was reliving my story.
Yeah,
I was in front of people and reliving my story, and it got to a point I thought, I can't do this anymore. I can't put myself through this. Even though I was doing good, but how do I tell my story in a way that's not putting me under so much pressure, making me feel the way it's making me feel? And I just learned. I don't know where I've seen it. I just learned that when you tell these impactful stories about yourself, is try and say it to a third person. Not speak about yourself. So like in this character, Jason, who had this accent. So when I was on stage, I actually wasn't talking about me anymore. It made the story easier to say.
It's like that disassociation from the emotion, isn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I completely. I don't know how it happened, but I just fell on this way of doing it. It really helped, and it pushed things forward. So it just gave me more clarity of mind, so I could just tell the story and get through it in a way that was impactful, but it wasn't affecting me as much.
Well, I remember seeing you probably must have been about 8 years ago or more, probably 2015 or something like that. The first time I saw you speak, I'd seen the video, I'd seen the water skiing video. I remember seeing the first time you spoke, I think for me, was at Heathrow Airport. And I was visibly, moved by your story. And that will become apparent in a little while because we'll talk about both of our books.
I think it's before that. I think that's when I first started speaking. So I was with Matt at the Heathrow and was doing Heathrow and Gatwick.
Yeah.
I think it's like 2010, mate. I was.
Okay. Right. Okay. So, but certainly from my perspective, it was it was a very, I completely related to you, and we'll talk about e-colors and personality diversity in a minute. But ultimately, I completely related to you for the reasons that will become apparent. We have very, very similar personality styles. But before we get on to that, obviously proud to be safe that you set up with your daughter Abby and the Anker and Marsh with Tim Marsh Consultancy. Tell us a bit more about that and what you do with both of those.
Well, I started by myself in 2009. Jason Anker Live, sole trader, just me sharing my story, mainly construction and mainly work hike stuff.
Yeah,
so that's what I did. That's what Excellent was, and that's what I did. But again, just wanted to do more. I've always wanted. I think this story is more than that. So 2011, I founded Proud to Be Safe.
Yep.
So just appeal to everybody. It was about safe, being proud to be safe, being proud to speak up, being proud to report. And it took off quite quick, a lot faster. So my workload was going huge. So asked Abby, was working at a bank. She got a good job at Barclays Bank, out on a career in banking. And she hadn't been helping me part-time anyway at night, just a little bit of admin for me. So I sort of asked her if she'd consider leaving the bank to me full-time. And I think she wanted to look after me. It was a way of Abby being able to look after Dad, making sure where Dad was. So Abby came on board, doing my admin, booking hotels, things like that. But she's basically took over. Abby's the boss, But what I did was, because I believe my story has got more than safety. I think it's more than that. So obviously, best in March, you've got to be recognised within safety and culture. It'd always been a confidence of mine anyway, so I could go to with an idea.
Yeah.
And it just I told me an idea about looking at well-being, how well-being affects safety as well. How people are feeling.
Yeah.
What drives someone in the morning to get out of bed in the morning and work on safe? Well, there's loads of things. There's not so many things that lead up to someone choosing to work on safe. So Tim said, why don't we work together? So I'm doing this anyway. I want to move into this arena of well-being and safety and culture and all these things. So why don't we do it together? And that's what got Anker and Marsh. So what that does is it enables me, because inspirational or motivational speakers, safety speakers in particular, can get regarded as like a silver bullet. Oh, you have these people, and it has an immediate impact in the room. And some people, one person, it actually changes for the rest of the direction of their life. But for the vast majority of people, it's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
A week, a month, a year. Eventually, they start to forget that story and just what they've always done. That's what people do. I knew that. So the Proud to Safe idea was try and help companies deliver something after a presentation. But what working with Anker and Marsh and working with Tim is, we have consultants who can deliver, specific training to companies, all the things that, all the soft skills training that companies need to help supervisors, help managers facilitate a nice working environment.
Absolutely. And that the culture piece is massively important, and obviously that's where something, a tool like the e-colors comes in as well. So how did you feel when I first showed you your yellow blue premium report, your e-colors report, the yellow blue report?
The journey I've been on is always trying to help me understand why I did what I did.
Yeah.
So anything that's come along with, when I first did the thing, I'll be honest, I was very skeptical.
Mm-hmm.
I think, well, how is that? When I started reading the report and reading the characteristics, it was sort of suggesting with my colours, just thinking, oh, that's me. Yeah, I do know. It's a bit like, oh wow, but still, again, slightly dubious. I think I've done 3 now. I did one probably about 2 weeks later. Thinking, no, virtually the same, virtually no difference at all.
So I'm going to show this on the screen if you don't mind, mate. I think it's worth looking at because it's such an important piece of work. So the first time, obviously, that I asked you to complete the questionnaire, you came out with your report as a yellow blue, and you can see you're quite fast paced because you forgot to put your full name. But as a yellow over blue, just to explain a little bit around personality indicators. The yellow part of our personality, we like to socialize and engage. And the blue side of the personality, we like to relate and support. And your first report came out as a yellow blue. And guess what? 10, 12 years ago, when I first did this, I was exactly the same. I came out as a yellow blue as well. And then, of course, I sent you my book, Life Remixed. You read that. I read your book. And I refer to us as brothers from other mothers because we've both had our challenges along the way. But our personalities were very people orientated, quite fast paced, big picture. And as you say, you start to read the report and all of a sudden you start to think to yourself, hold on a minute, this is actually me. Now, your percentages, when you first came out with your percentages, were, a nice spread of everything, because we say that obviously we can dip into all areas of our personality style at any time. There's no better or worse than anything else. But your yellow and your blue, your percentages were both very high, right? Nearly 40% yellow, 30% blue. So that's the empathizer and that's the socializer. They were very, dominant almost. Anything I would say over a 30% is a higher percentage of anything in your personality diversity. Red, 18%, your doer, and your green, 14%, your thinker. Lower scores, but certainly not difficult for you to access them if you need to. And I will show you other report in a little while regarding how this has changed through, a couple of years of us working together and you being my coaching client in Life Remixed, and how these have balanced out a little bit more. So we'll show those in a bit. But if we look at, you did this 3 years ago with me, shall we say, in 2020, I think during COVID. This was your first attempt at any kind of questionnaire. Like you said, you were a bit dubious to start with, quite rightly so. We understand the doubt and resistance for people at times, when they're introduced to something new. However, as a yellow blue, I then took you through your premium report and we did a full debrief. And you can see on the side here, it's actually 33 pages of amazing work has actually been put in by my partners and friends in Equilibria. But then, of course, once we've been through it, you actually gave me this amazing testimonial here, which is actually, as a yellow blue, that you found an incredible tool. Could you have acted differently on the day of your accident if you'd known about e-colors in advance? It's possible. So let's discuss that and let's understand where that comes from. Because the first piece I showed you was obviously how you could get hurt. And these are the top answers given by people from each personality quadrant. So the red, the doer, the green, the thinker, the yellow, the socializer, the blue, the empathizer, the relator. And as yellow blues, you and I would both look at that side. And certainly from my perspective, when I first discovered my e-colors, I looked at myself and I thought, yeah, That's what I do. I jump in to help other people all of the time, even without thinking. I don't stop to think. I just jump in there, get involved, want to help other people. And as a blue secondary, indicator color, I rely on other people a lot. What other people thought of me was important, and I relied on other people. And if I was being rushed or shouted at, I really disliked that. It was not something that I liked at all. So therefore, personality-wise, how could I get hurt physically and emotionally? Both of those things rang completely true for me. Of course, when I showed it to you, what was your feeling?
Yeah, I think that's probably the bit that really made me realise there was something in this. It's just by accident. It's just exactly what happened. Trying to help someone get a job done. Didn't question, rushed on. When it wasn't for a moment thinking, can we do this? Is it safe? It was like, yeah, we'll do that. We can do it. So straight in. And then the being rushed part of it, I think I was being rushed. Yeah, I didn't want to let other people down. Was my thing. I don't think they was rushing me to get you. Imagine watching them doing it and thinking, I'm going to do the same. It's relying on other people to stop. If something was wrong, obviously someone else would stop the job.
Yeah.
The whole thing like, well, everyone else is doing it, so they must be all right. So I'll carry on. So, and the bit I spoke about earlier about stopping, I stopped. I actually stopped. I was rushing to get it done, but this is not right. I was very inexperienced on ladders anyway. So that fear had definitely kicked in, saying something's not right here. Something had made me aware that something was unsafe that day.
Yeah. Yeah.
But because obviously rushing to get the job done, wanting to help, not let people down, I overrid those potential stops for me doing what I did. I overrid them, thinking, now it's going to be all right. Don't let people get on it. So yeah, it was a huge moment for me to actually realise that it helped me understand why I did what I did.
Yeah. And that personality, is not the defining thing of everything as a human being. It's not, as you said before, there are other factors, of course, but personality played a part. And you not being aware of your personality at a 24-year-old lad, as a yellow, jumping in to help, as a blue, avoiding conflict, being agreeable, someone else would do it, maybe I won't speak up, etc. They were contributing factors ultimately in how you got hurt. And when you started to realise that, as you say, you started to think, hang on, there may well be something in this. Then we look at another slide, which is what makes it difficult for me to have a safety conversation or in a challenging conversation. And again, we might look at the yellow-blue side there as you and I more naturally where we would go. We don't want to hurt others' feelings, No. However, the blue kicks in. And if you look at the blue, as I perceive it as conflict and I might tend to avoid it, that's really paramount for you in that instance. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I was about to say the blue really kicked in then on the day, but if I'd been aware on the day what was happening to my thought process, if I could just try to be more green or like in that moment, a bit more green, that's a bit more information, isn't it? So it just shows that by being aware of where you are, as you said, you might have dominant features, but we're going to tap into any colour at any time if you choose to.
That's right.
If I just chosen to think, actually, I need a bit more information here, what would be not safe? It would have helped prevent the snowball effect of my actions from happening.
Absolutely. And I mean, if we look at, your mindset now, which we're going to come on to, towards the end of this, but your mindset now very much in the place of your wheelchair has taken you further than your legs ever could, which I think is such a positive outlook and a beautiful thing to experience and be a part of. But what is done is done, and the positive mindset that you have now is very, very powerful. When we look back and we look at our younger selves, me myself included, these things showed up. They absolutely showed up, and they caused me certain levels of pain. They caused me problems. They caused me challenges. And I feel that if we understand this information from a personality perspective, it gives us more of an opportunity to be able to deal with other challenges in our day-to-day life, physically, mentally, not just health and safety on construction sites or dangerous high-risk places, but actually throughout everything that we experience day in, day out. I feel that it can really have a positive impact. Just self-awareness is key here. And you and I, we both got into trouble in our younger lives doing decisions that perhaps, or making decisions perhaps that didn't really serve us at that time, but we made them for the right reasons a lot of the time. We wanted to help others. We wanted to avoid conflict and please people. But actually, as yellow blues, those things actually ended up, having some problems for both of us. I've written about it in Life Remixed. You've written about it in Paralysis to Success. When we look at these error traps as well, there's so much research that has gone into the work that we present to people. There's so much research, so much, market research, and asking people of certain personalities or of every personality certain questions. When we look at stress for you as a yellow and for me as a yellow, it says both about how we set this trap for ourselves and for others about being overly helpful. Is that something that's happened to you over the years, being overly helpful?
Yeah, massively. Yeah. Just always, never want to say no to people. That's and understanding that's really helped me as well. It's really helping to understand. I've always done things in a certain way.
Yeah.
So the ego has really helped me about understanding of why I'm doing what I'm doing, or why I'm thinking the way I'm thinking.
We also wear these wristbands. I'll take the screen share off in a little bit. I've got my yellow-red one now because my colours have changed slightly. You've got your yellow-blue one on there as well, right? And we have play and pause on our wristbands. And with those play and pause on our wristbands, it actually helps us play our strengths and manage our potential limiters, which we all have within us. And it gives us a really good way of managing, coping with certain challenges that come at us. Because here, as you say, high workload, being unable to say no is a big thing. Taking on too much or asking others to take on too much. And then we looked a little bit later at overconfidence. I'll just highlight there by seeing danger but choosing to overlook it. That's exactly what you just described, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly my accent.
Yeah. And look at that, Jason, as well, what you just said as well. Look, trusting others have got this.
Yeah.
Again, exactly what you said. Someone else will deal with the problem. It'll be all right. I'll jump in. So many factors come into play. And all of a sudden, we can make a mistake.
Yeah.
We can make an error in any life, physically, emotionally, any part of our life, we can make an error. There's a bit here about what makes it difficult to follow procedures. And if we look at this, Jason, from the yellow-blue perspective, we prefer verbal instructions, right?
Yeah.
Someone needs to give us verbal instructions rather than giving us a huge document, or not telling us. Yeah. If they haven't explained something to us and they're just cracking on, we're not sure. We might not ask for help because of that yellow-blue perspective. I don't want to speak up. It might be conflict. We prefer verbal instructions, and if they're not given, we might not ask for them. And if we're not explained why, from a yellow-blue perspective, why we're doing something, again, it can make it difficult for any of these personality styles to follow a procedure if it's not presented in a way that each of these quadrants need it to be presented. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
It becomes a very, very powerful tool when you really start to understand this. And I've been studying this for a long, long time. And it's something that I feel very, very strongly about, because I know, not just from your testimonial, but from many, many other testimonials, I know that this information helps people. It's helped me. So therefore, I know that it's helped many, many people. I did mention while we were on share there, obviously, there's the Life Remixed book, and there's Jason's Bouncing Back from Adversity, Paralysis to Success. Brothers from Other Mothers, if you want to read those. It's incredible, actually, when you read the musical backgrounds we had when we were children and all the things that we did. Yeah, just you were just in the Midlands area, and I was in London, but essentially it was almost identical, which I loved, and it gives me a great rapport with everything that you talk about and share. So before I start to talk a bit more about coaching and what we've done together over the last few years, and then show your next percentage report so people can see obviously the differences in when you've done the questionnaire again. Why do you think people should come to an e-colours awareness event? We're doing them every few months next year, but what did you get from it when you came to the last one? Why do you think people should be there?
Yeah, I think even when you do a report, you're reading it, you're analysing the report, and you might not quite gather enough information about what it actually means. Where I think the live sessions, it's explained more and becomes more apparent, more easier to start to understand what's being said. In my view, it helped me really understand my report a lot better, and also what I could do about it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Being a yellow and blue, words on paper mean one thing, but when you actually see it,
yeah, absolutely. So, because verbally, that's for you is very, very important. A top colour green might be very comfortable reading all of the documentation, but maybe not less comfortable in a room, being around people. There's no
right way. So, some people, get a report and they'll analyse it, and the live thing will just reinforce what they've read. So you won't expect, anyone, but for me, it reinforce everything.
How did you feel when we do the breakout rooms when we put people into
rooms? Again, anyone who's skeptical about this as well, I can remember the first time we broke into a group at one of your live events, and we've been asked to do some tasks in each group and wait for them to deliver the results back. Our group hadn't even finished answers.
The yellows were busy talking about life and getting things conversationally, whereas the reds had got it done very, very quickly. The blues were all empathising with each other, and the greens were potentially overthinking things and giving way to long, detailed answers. But again, it just becomes so clear and obvious when people are just put into those areas. And other things we do, obviously, with these sessions, we mix people up and we'll put people from different personality styles into one room.
I get it.
You see the chaos that can ensue there when people are just not communicating with each other. And teamwork is more positive. Safety is more positive from just understanding the tip of the iceberg of personality. We're not defining a human being here. We're not saying this is who you are, and it's a personality indicator, so you can look at your percentages, understand where you are stronger, where you have some potential limiters, not weaknesses, because a weakness you can't do anything about. A potential limiter you can change if you work at it. And that actually seems like a really good moment for me to share this next report that you've done. So you did your questionnaire. Like me, I've done my questionnaire quite a few times. I was a yellow-blue for about 8 years. And I've just tweaked into a yellow-red by a couple of percent now. My blue's still very high, but my red has gone up a lot. But if we look at your percentages here, you've done this obviously after 6 or 12 months of coaching together, working. You can see that your yellow percentage has gone down slightly, as has your blue. Your green and red have both come up. And actually what's happened here is you've become quite clearly a slightly more balanced individual that can dip into any of these areas at any time. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's very fair. It's that even when even now, people laugh at me. I have struggled ordering. If I go to a drive-through, if someone's with me, I panic and I struggle giving orders. It's a bizarre thing. Whereas now, I just dip into another colour and just ask the person next to me I've used it to help me.
Yeah,
I'm very conscious going to a different colour.
Yeah,
as I know the colours I'm predominantly sometimes don't serve me very well in certain situations.
Yeah.
But by being able to relax and think, what am I green doing? What do I need? What do I need to help the situation? It's really, really helping me on a very personal level as well as a business level as well.
Amazing. That's amazing. And yeah, absolutely. It is a tool for life, isn't it? It's not just, a lot of safety courses and things we go on, people are just there or if they come to a talk, they'll listen to it like you said, but it might sort of drift away out of their consciousness for a while. But that's where things like Anker and Marsh with culture, us with behavioural safety, and all the other great work, the speakers and all the other great stuff that goes on out there, all of that comes together to make it live on, into someone's day-to-day life, and gives a real sense of, for me, when I did my e-colours report for the first time, I realised two things very quickly. One was, actually, it's great to be me, because there's lots of other people that are just like me. Okay, great. But in our e-colours world, we look at the top 2 tendencies. So that means there's 12 reports in total. And of those 12 reports, that means there's 11 other personality styles that are not like me. And therefore, I need to know how to communicate with them to be able to uplift myself and get a more positive outcome. So brilliant, obviously, that you're using it day to day, which I absolutely love. Let's talk about, obviously, Life Remix success coaching. You sat on the sidelines for a little while, I remember you saying, and then you came and got involved after reading my book and everything else. How have you found it, just as an experience for us building as a coach and client relationship, but building a friendship even more? How have you found just the whole work that we've done in the last couple of years now?
It has really helped me change my life. It's been that I made a lot of positive choices. Life was getting better, but still, I always thought there was something missing from my life. Understanding myself. I remember the first time I started crying after that. I actually started speaking. It was the first time I actually.
I remember.
But again, looking back to the equals, I've always helped other people. My goal is to make sure everyone else is all right, and probably not taking care of myself. And actually, what it's really learned me is you can't even help if your life is about helping other people, which is great, but you can't help anybody to help yourself.
Mm.
So I wasn't really helping people that greatly because I wasn't in a great place myself. So it was more or less telling people what I think they should do.
and that might work a little bit, but to be honest, it's got to be authentic. You've got to live it and from the heart, right?
Yeah, and learning the best way of helping other people is do it yourself.
Mm.
You actually start to notice.
Mm.
And you seem really good, but what you've been doing, and you sort of tell people what you've done. That journey I've set myself on. I'd stop drinking for a year when I'm doing the course. So I'd always stop drinking anyway and notice the benefit in that. But I was always still in a place where I thought I'll do something and that will change my life. That one thing will be it.
Yeah.
Well, it's not about one thing. It's about continually changing, continually moving on to the next one, tweaking that a little bit, revisiting that problem or revisiting that solution. I think is it time now to go on a different path? So it's a continuum. It's not something.
That's right. Stop looking for a completion of anything in life and start enjoying the day to day. Understanding personality really helped me. It's clearly helped you. And then also taking that on board and going deeper into your character, into you as a human being. We've spoken, haven't we, a lot about gratitude. We've spoken a lot about acceptance. We've spoken a lot about forgiveness. Those are building blocks, post e-colours. Those are building blocks of actually appreciation of what we do have rather than what we don't have. Certainly, your growth has been amazing as an individual in the last couple of years. In fact, I remember just recently someone said to me at a speech you were giving at the She Show, they said, I've seen Jason turn from quite an angry young man, in his wheelchair, but quite angry about what had happened to him, to actually someone who is just a lot more peaceful and a lot more influential going forwards than perhaps you have been, in the past. And the reason for that is because of understanding these universal laws that I learned from Bob Proctor. And thank you, Bob Proctor, for everything that you taught me. And certainly these are things that we've connected on and that you've taken into your life. I mean, I can see the motivational messages behind you. I won't try, I will make it happen. You've got your purpose clearly defined now, haven't you?
Yeah. All or what I've learned. You see, I spent a lot of years being angry with myself, not forgiving myself for what I've done.
Yeah.
So always not wanting to really thrive in life because I didn't think I deserved it.
Yeah.
I've done okay in life after my accident and I started speaking. So what more did I deserve? I didn't deserve anymore. Be content with what you got. But actually now realizing the better I am inspires other people to change as well. So the better I can be, it's better for everybody. And learning the purpose is not about me. That's another word. Purpose is not about me. My purpose is what I do for other people. That's the true purpose. So if I live in a certain way, I can inspire other people to do something different. Because that for me is what this is all about now. And it's gone from when I first started speaking, it was a motivational safety presentation to make people not be like me. I'm asking people not to be like me.
Yeah.
Where today's presentation, today's journey, and where I'm going to is to inspire people to be like me. And I'll say my wheelchair is to be further in life than later would. I'm not recommending people have an accident for the wheelchair. But what I'm saying is I'm in it. I can't change it. I can't change the fact that I'm in the wheelchair for the rest of my life. And all I can change is my journey in my wheelchair and where it takes me, and be grateful every single day. Then I wake up, my wheelchair's there, so I'm the bed. I used to hate it. I used to wake up to that bloody chair to ruin my life, but now I'm grateful. It's there. It used to represent everything taken away from me.
Yeah.
So how could you really? Well, now it's I put my wheelchair opportunities.
And that in itself is a life remix, isn't it? It's a change of perception. It's grasping, the real positives from every situation, and that leads me on to, just as we start to sort of round this up, this leads me on to your plans for 2024 and beyond. What's next? What's coming up?
Yeah, so obviously I've been sat in the health, safety and wellbeing arena for so long, and everybody knows me in that arena. And now it's like speaking just the inspirational piece, just inspire people to be the best version of themselves, no matter what. And it's always about making massive changes. It's not inspiring someone to go climb Everest. It's inspiring someone to be able to get out of bed in the morning and have some breakfast, have a wash, practice some gratitude. Just the little things. So their day becomes a better day on the travel to work, which could impact people they're sat with on the journey, could impact people who don't know. Road rage, it can impact someone's life if they shout at someone in the car. So you can either positively impact people or negatively impact people. And you do it all day long, whether you're conscious or not. You're impacting other people all the time. You influence people by the way you are, and that's in personal life, it's in business.
It's like those ripples in a pond effect, isn't it?
Yeah. It's now. I've let myself get over that. I don't need to know. I'm not interested. It's not my, you're great and get over yourself. My ego's not there anymore. So
well, I often say to people, I say, get out of your own way, right?
Yeah, completely. If I give it, even on a safe presentation, it's a real section at the end, 15, 20 minutes, all this well-being stuff, gratitude. People never comment on the safe part of the presentation anymore. It's all about so if I by delivering a presentation in the daytime, send someone in a different frame of mind, that it would go home, test a kid training on the football field for the afternoon. If someone gets in the football team or daughter gets in the football team, their school life is different because it's all about this positivity, because it's such an energy positivity that you inspire other people to do something different. So it always be inspire you not to work unsafe or not to work unsafely. And
yeah. Well, you've taken it on a notch, and clearly your plan for 2024 is to take that on even further and move away, as you say. The safety thing has been important, and people know you for that. And I'm sure you'll always cover that box whenever you're asked to. But the inspirational side of, and I must say that I'm looking forward to the next Life Remixed event that I put on, and you're going to be a guest inspirational speaker on there. You've been preparing. I know how much you've been preparing your speech because you tell me. You've been spending hours, right? Really honing your skills.
And it's not about me anymore. It's not that this has been a great presentation for me. This is about what I can learn people of my journey in the last 5-6 years of my well-being journey, the way I've changed and the way I've found to find my purpose in life. If I can share that and give that to other people, that's my purpose. That's my life's about now. The journey I've got here, I'm grateful for everything that's happened in my life. The drugs, the accident, it's led me to this point. I couldn't be any happier. So we should not have happened. There's no point. I can't change it. So no point wishing it never happened. It did.
My belief in your journey is that you are on a way now that is actually going to take you up hugely, as an inspirational speaker. And there are lots of other people that I know you're inspired by, to be an inspirational speaker, to share your story, that actually, you can overcome challenges, know thyself, know your personality, know your e-colours, and understand how to work with yourself in a good way. And then, as you say, once you've sorted out that thing, and I'm very much about not just positive thinking, but actually let's deal with some of the issues. And therapy can help, e-colours, all these things they're all part of it. And then coaching takes you onwards and upwards to the inspirational part of yourself that you can really make a difference in this world. And you've been doing that for many years, Jace. And I feel that we're just warming up.
Yeah.
We're just warming up. So look, this has been an amazing conversation, and as two yellows going head to head, we could sit here for hours and hours and hours. I know we could. We've done it already over the last few years. But what are you most looking forward to? What are you most grateful for? And then we'll wish everyone well, and we'll be on our way. But what's the buzz? What are you most looking forward to?
Deliver a presentation in massive theatres, 500-600,000 people in theatres, inspiring more people to, no matter what's going on in their life, however bad their life is, at a certain point in time, there's always a chink of light somewhere to focus on that little piece. Gratitude for me has changed. It's changed everything. Being grateful about everything. Not just being grateful when things go wrong. That's the easy part. That's the power. The power of gratitude. The superpower of gratitude is when you're grateful when things go wrong.
Yeah.
Find something out. I'll probably explain that very quickly. When Mum passed away this year, after long, I'm still doing. It's a hard Christmas. I'm still devastated. Mum's gone. But that gratitude about my mum, ill health, a lot of years, she was in pain at the end. That gratitude of my mum's passed away, she's in peace now. That gratitude has got me through the grieving process so much faster.
Absolutely right. And I remember saying to you, when your mum was still with us, I remember saying to you, can you please go and tell both your parents how grateful you are for everything that they did, and you used the example earlier in this conversation about, your father saying, I'm not switching off the life support or anything like that. I mean, what gratitude to feel. And it's so beautiful that you expressed it, to your mother and to your father, obviously, who's still with us, but expressed it to your mother before she passed was a beautiful moment, I felt.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. She held my hand that day. She said, I'm just ready. I've had enough. And there's no stop thinking about it, Mum. I said, yeah, sure, I'm happy.
Yeah.
You do what you want.
Yeah.
It made Mum really comfortable because all the family members was, challenging her. But yeah, it was a nice moment that we finally connected.
Yeah. It's beautiful, way. Mate. And that gratitude is there's a great little book actually I've got here. And it's called The Science of Getting Rich, which is what The Secret was based on. And in chapter 7, I've got it marked. It says the whole process of mental adjustment and atonement can be summed up in one word, which is gratitude. I've got it underlined. I remember Bob Proctor telling me about it. The whole process of mental adjustment and atonement can be summed up in one word: gratitude. You've practiced it. It works. I am grateful for your time, this busy life that we lead. I'm massively grateful for your time. I think that, I love that your daughter, the wonderful Abby, is also now a coaching client in the Life Remix community. And we're just making better versions of ourselves always, doing it for the right reasons and doing it in a good way. And I'm really grateful for your time, mate. I think it's been a fantastic conversation. And I'm really looking forward to sharing this with as many people as possible.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for the opportunity.
Absolute pleasure, mate. Absolute pleasure.